Hello, it's Phillip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. And today, on this lovely sunny day, I'm looking at a book which has come to us from Globe Law and Business and the International Bar Association. The book title is Hedge Funds. It's a popular book, this one, now in a second edition, and it has a subtitle, A Practical Global Handbook to the Law and Regulation concerning hedge funds. The consulting editors are Fiorentino, Careno, Lynn, McGrade and Alfred L.J. Page. The title that we've given our book review, which Elizabeth was lead writer on, is As the UK is a Hedge Fund Powerhouse, here's a timely lawyer's guide to recent hedge fund developments. And I think this book will be of great benefit, not just to people who are heavily involved in this area of corporate law, but also to a much wider audience, because the words hedge fund are incredibly popularly used today, and many people have absolutely no idea what they're about. They'll have some idea, they'll know about unit trusts, they'll have some concepts. Most of them won't know very much about it. So a little bit of a mystique always suddenly builds up around them. So it's worth reading. Let's just have a look at the book first of all. It's very much the house style of Globe Law. You can see there's the front, it's a hardback. There it is, there's the actual title. You can see the International Bar Association logo at the bottom and the people who've been involved in producing it. There's the spine, probably can't really see too much of that. You can probably make out a bit of it there. And then the back, again, probably not be able to read too much of it. I'll stand it back a bit. But you can see basically where it is. Now the book runs to, and it is the house style, so things are a little bit the other way round for some people. There's the back of the book, and there's some earlier publications. These are the special reports, by the way, which Globe produce, which we've reviewed. Very good indeed. A bit about the Globe Law Business Publishing House from Sean O'Neill, the managing director. Then Modern Legal Practice, which is their publication. Then you've got details at the back about the people who have contributed, because this is a book for contributors. I can't go through all of the names of the people because a lot of people are involved in this. You can see the list of them there. Then at the back of the book you can see, that's on page 414, runs to about 450 pages in total. You can see some paragraph numbering on the final page there. And then as we go in you can see the structuring as we go through. There's a little bit of footnoting as well at the bottom there. Now at the front of the book, there is the front page, again house style. You can see where we are there and so forth. Then we go into the blurb, Globe Law blurb there. That's actually the information about the book in case you're interested. Then you've got the table of contents, and you can see the structure of the book, starting with introduction, then formation and structuring of hedge funds, then development, litigation in the hedge fund world, then looking at specific countries as well as we go over the page. The countries, of course, are running all the way through, and the usual suspects are there, UK and the US at the end. And of course you've also got Luxembourg, which I thought might be somewhere around. Then of course the introduction itself, well worth reading, gives you an idea. As I say, the successful publication of the first edition was in 2012. So the consulting editors decided to update and refresh and supplement the contents with the new edition for 2019. And we hope you enjoy the book. Can I just say, yes, we did. There's the actual front page, if you like, sort of the first chapter, Formation and Structuring of Hedge Funds. Many fund managers have taken the hedge out of hedge funds. That's not a surprise. Some have taken the fund out of them too. Not the fund, but the fund. So, today we might see a single investor managed account or a fund of one invested in speculative positions. This is called a hedge fund. So you've got the definition there, okay? Then we work from that. Then running through the book you can see all of the various contributions looking specifically at particular areas. This is actually looking at the position in Canada. And then right at the end, as I say, we have right at the back we have the United States, and just before then the UK. Okay, that is the book. As I say, very well worth reading. I do think you have to have some understanding of, if I can put it this, the world of finance, and you've obviously got to have some understanding of some principles of law, but it's not a difficult book to read. And I think one of the great beauties of the Globe Law and the business titles is that they are appealing to a wide audience of readers, some of whom won't have that much knowledge, but it's not a difficult concept to try to grasp once you get into the book itself. It's always going to be, whenever you read any document, there's always a problem about you've got to read the first few pages, then you get into it. But of course it can initially be a little bit of a pain. But this is, as I say, an interesting book, and it got our attention. So what do we say about it? This. Now that hedge funds have become almost a commonplace internationally, the publication of hedge funds by Globe Law and Business is timely for the second edition. As the book has now arrived in this second edition, then, it can be relied upon to provide up-to-date and authoritative guidance through the maze of recent and key developments within the hedge fund industry globally. And as you know, it's not popular with some people and it's very popular with others, so you can understand there's a bit of controversy about it. Hedge fund investors and their advisors, say the editors, need to keep themselves informed regarding, quote, the interaction of the legal and regulatory frameworks that impact on hedge fund operations. Quite right too. It is critical, warns the preface from the main contributing editors, that hedge fund managers stay abreast of developments in the regulatory landscape. And I'm afraid to say that is the same position for anybody like myself in the legal profession. We have to keep up to date with what the requirements are in terms of regulation, because we do live in a regulated and ordered activity. I mean, some people aren't, but we are, and we have to therefore make sure we know what's going on. Because after all, the basic principle is always there: ignorance of the law or the regulation, no excuse. We must remember that that's always going to be the argument put to us if we transgress. So therefore we've got to know what we're doing. And as the book's orientation and perspective is obviously global, the new material contained in this edition includes, for example, a chapter on regulatory developments of interest to United States of America hedge fund managers, and further guidance focuses on enforcement developments implemented by the US's Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, and of course much more. That includes things like regulatory changes under specific legislation, as well as developments in the US political and economic landscape, which of course I think one always has to have at the back of one's mind all the way through. Similarly, of course, levels of scrutiny and analysis are applied in the European context, particularly in the new chapter on the role of prime brokers, legal analysis from an EU, European Union perspective. Of course, I'm writing this at a time when we haven't left, Britain has not left the European Union. We don't quite know what's happening. It's the summer of 2019. The editors have taken the view that selecting the right prime broker is one of the most important decisions that any hedge fund manager can make. And I think, again, that's a very important statement to bear in mind. And while we're talking about key developments in Brexit, in Europe, what about Brexit? Well, I couldn't really get away without mentioning the Brexit problem. This is an issue which plunges a great deal of speculation into the unknown, and we still don't know where we are in August, September 2019. We've got a new Prime Minister. We still don't really know what's going to happen. As I record this, we are due to leave the European Union on the 31st of October, Halloween 2019. Whether that's going to happen, I don't know. Fortunately, the book is country specific and therefore presents cogent analyses of the law and regulation of hedge funds across no less than 16 leading jurisdictions, alphabetically from Australia, Brazil, Canada and China to the UK and of course the US. So you see it's got a really nice coverage as you go through the book, with at the beginning of the book, the basic introduction and commentaries, then we get into the countries. The commentary then on the impact of Brexit on hedge fund activity in the UK is as succinct and informed as you're likely to find anywhere at the moment, in my view, and for the most part it's quite positive. It's pointed out that the impact of Brexit on the hedge fund sector of the UK financial services industry, quote, has been less significant than on others, and likely to remain so, even in the event of a no-deal Brexit scenario. And we still don't know what will happen, but there is a tremendous attempt to try and get some sort of deal. But we will see, and that means that at some stage another edition is inevitable, I would think, probably sooner rather than later. It's interesting to note here, of course, that the UK is something of a hedge fund powerhouse, hence our comment in the title. In terms of aggregate assets under management, the UK hedge fund sector is the largest in Europe and the second largest globally after the US. And by comparison, the assets of German domiciled hedge funds were in 2017 approximately 0.1% of the worldwide hedge fund market. So you can see that where the leadership is in this particular area and what could be at stake post-Brexit. I'll leave it at that. My conclusion, and that of Elizabeth, is that it's always also noteworthy that more than 40 contributors have come together to participate and put forward views in this book. They're lawyers and industry providers alike, and they're all experts in this field, each offering well-informed and useful advice on what is certainly a continually changing and complex area of law. So great thanks to everybody who's been involved, and for anyone involved professionally with investing in or advising on hedge funds. We think this book is essential reading, and as I've indicated, we don't review books that we don't think that much of. We obviously only really review books which we would think will have a direct relevance in our own professional areas of activity, and this is one of them. And as I've said, there's no point in reviewing a book that's not very good. This book is first class, and I'd like to thank Sean O'Neill and Nicola and everybody else at Globe for the production of the work. The date of publication of the book is cited, as I understand it, at the 31st of August 2019, but it may have come out a little bit earlier. Let's just have one last look at the book. There's the front of it there. Hedge funds, you see the blurb there. Then the spine. Then there's some blurb on the back. I haven't referred to that much. It just outlines for the first time key trends in the global hedge fund industry. This is the second edition to update. And just opening it in the middle, we're looking here at the Cayman Islands, well-known area. This is written by Jeremy Bomford and Ian McMurdo. The contributor's name is always there in the top, as you're looking at it, the top right-hand corner. And you can see again the structure of the book. You've got some paragraph numbering, very little footnoting of any relevance throughout. There's a little bit there, for instance, earlier on. But all in all, in what is, as I say, under 500 pages, a really first-class book. A thank you is in order for all involved, a lot of people involved in this. It's quite clear that something will be happening probably in the European front. May well be on the 31st of January 2020 now, I don't know, but I would expect another book to come, new edition in due course. In the meantime, we've got this. Thank you to all, and very grateful for all the information you give us. You make our lives a great deal easier. Thank you. Bye-bye.